Hey y'all, this is the Controlled Burner, and it's time for a short review of Maid of Honor by Drake. Alright, on to album number 2, which from what I've heard seems to focus more on a hip house and dancehall sound, and that was kinda conflicting to hear. On one hand, in theory, this should see Drake going outside his comfort zone a little bit from his usual melodic trap beats and low energy songs. On the other hand, we already kinda got a display of how Drake works with this genre on Honestly Nevermind, an album that achieved the rare feat of actually making me fall asleep as I was listening to it. Needless to say, it was a boring piece of mush. It really felt less like Drake trying a new sound and more like he was just doing his normal shtick of low energy songs and toxic behavior over a different instrumental. And after listening to this, I feel like I might as well copy and paste that review onto this album because that's pretty much how I feel. In fact, this might arguably be worse than Honestly Nevermind because at least that album mostly sounded like a competent house album that just didn't try to do anything. There are a handful of production choices here that sound extremely cheap on this album. There's a lot of pretty weak and sparse sounding beats across the first half that sound oddly unfinished and awkward next to Drake's rapping and the main melodies of some of these tracks. There's also some really bizarre choices across these tracks that just make these songs sound worse, like the weird distorted glitching sound that plays during the first half of Which One, the absolutely insane second half of BBW with the text-to-speech vocals, the loud steel drums, and an 808 that sounds like it's gonna choke me through the screen. Oh man, what do I even say about the song Cheetah Print? This really is one of those tracks that does virtually everything wrong that I deep down really respect it. Like, are you gonna find another song that badly samples Peggy Goo's It Goes Like Na Na Na, has some of the worst drum beats ever to accompany a robotic voice repeating the phrase, smack that big ol' ass, only to transition into a sexy red feature where she interpolates the freaking cha-cha slide to have it be about sex? No, I don't think so. Unfortunately, by the second half, the album essentially plays it safe into more boring and mediocre dance beats that don't sound catchy or memorable enough to care about. And as for Drake himself, once again, he's providing virtually no energy to most of these tracks and is focusing a lot of these songs on messy relationships he had in the past that would be kinda repulsive if it weren't so boring. Although we do get a few gems in his lines again, like, it's jokes on me like the first day of April, just cause your body ain't PG rated, so much ass you should be cremated, and my personal favorite, I can't wait girl, I'm not a waiter. I know it's kinda set up to the next line about getting served, but like, what a setup to begin with. So yeah, this is a pretty abysmal album and has no honor to speak of. And yet, we still have one more album.